Hi, it's Rhonda Butler with Rhonda Butler and Associates at Chenoweth & Cohen Realtors, and I'm here with Matt McCormick at McCormick Appraisals. Thanks for doing this with me today.
Yes, ma'am.
I just have a few questions for you because this is a crazy market, and I know you're taking a lot of heat, and so are we. First of all, can you tell us what you're seeing in this market?
Well, we're seeing as appraisers the same things that the realtors are saying and the buyers and sellers are seeing. It's very limited inventory. Generally speaking, prices are escalating. We're seeing a variety of price differentials depending upon what submarket, depending upon where you're located. The challenges that we're seeing now is that we're getting, as appraisers, that we're getting contracts in and still things are maybe on a 14-day contract to get these things done. And there's, a lot of pressure on the appraisers to just get through the process. And, that has been the case for a while, but, it's something we've been able to work through, and we've been able to work with people like Alfredo to increase our efficiencies and get the product out that they need for their client.
Mm-hmm. So how many comparable homes do you have to create your appraisal?
Well, the minimum that we have to have is 3 comparables, depending upon who the client is. Sometimes we'll add a listing to that for support. Lots of times, if it's a fairly complex property, we'll add additional comps in there because for the end user or the underwriter, sometimes the 3 comps aren't enough to fully explain what's going on.
Right.
So it's something that you learn through experience, and you have to understand what it is that your client's looking for. But 3 is the minimum that we have to have, and that allows generally for a decent idea of what's going on within the market. And
you typically try to use within the same neighborhood, correct?
Absolutely. And we're required to use sales within the neighborhood if they are available. Now, if we're in an area, say it's a rural area, a neighborhood may not exist.
Right.
I mean, it may be a house on 10 or 20 acres. Well, the chances of there being another house that sold within the last 12 months on 10 acres within a mile of that are pretty much not going to happen. And so we expand our areas. We try to stay within the same market area as much as we can. If we need to adjust for things like location and other external factors, we do that when appropriate.
Okay, so there's a lot of flippers, people who are flipping houses right now, and so they'll go into an existing, even an older neighborhood and totally redo a house.
Right.
How does that affect what you're comparing with?
Well, so that's called gentrification, and we're starting to see that a little bit in the outlying areas, places like Coweta and Inola and things that you have seen in Midtown Tulsa for the last several years. It's really a good sign to see because that means that a investor considers that area to be up and coming, and that people will pay a premium to be in that area. Outside of just the investor making money on it, they're not going to invest their time and resources in those areas if they don't think that it's a up and coming area. But what is sometimes difficult is, say you're the first flipper or investor in that area. How do we determine what the value would be for a property that has been completely renovated?
Right.
And so sometimes we have to expand our areas to find similar competing properties like that. It's just, that's a little bit of a challenge, but once things get kind of up and going in those areas, they tend to kind of feed on themselves.
Can you add value for the things that have been done to improve the property?
Absolutely. We make condition adjustments based upon things that have been done to the property. Lots of times whenever there's, say, a bank-owned property or a distressed sale or a low-end sale, and an investor comes and snaps them up, they will do a loan based upon the subject to value, so they will give us a scope of work with all the work that they're going to do, and we will do an appraisal based upon all of those items being done. So
you are pretty much bound by historical data,
correct,
right? Even if you personally see that the market is going up,
right,
can you not use that information that about the market?
Right, and so what's going on in the current market is always something that you should consider, and most recent sales lots of times will show you that, especially in an increasing market. Sometimes you can consider pending sales whenever you're making your assessment. But, what we've been dealing with is that you can't necessarily project because who knows what tomorrow looks like, right?
Yeah.
And so you're using the historical data to pull from. Sometimes it gives you a reasonable idea of value, and say if you have a 10-month-old comp, sometimes you have to use a date of sale adjustment to account for those differences in an increasing or decreasing market between what happened, say, last December versus what's going on now.
Right, and the market has adjusted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In most areas, for sure. And in areas where we can justify that type of thing, then it's the correct way to adjust for those differences.
Well, thanks for your time today.
Yes, you
You've been really helpful, and I hope this has been helpful for you guys to kind of see behind the scenes and understand the limitations that an appraiser is working under. So, again, Rhonda Butler with Chenoweth & Cohen Realtors and Matt McCormick with McCormick Appraisals. Thanks.